Hey everybody, please like, subscribe. Out here abusing another dog, letting it get some exercise. You know, forcing it to grab a hold of that rope and tug on it, bite on it, chew on it. So, in reality, we know different. People that have dogs or animals that actually exercise them know different anyway. And, wanted to talk a little bit about some conversations I've had recently, and it's about the people and the dogs and how it's really hard to find stand-up people, it seems. But it's the people and the dogs, like the people in anything else. In sports, people that play dominoes, people that play chess, people in cars, people that have anything else going on in their life, like boating. We just mirror society as a whole. And so really the reason you don't find stand-up people in the dogs is because you don't find stand-up people in the real world. Majority of people are just not that way. I remember growing up, community coming together, and here we don't get that unless it's I've only seen it a couple times in the dogs. Let me put it that way. People don't rally towards injustice. They take an attitude of indifference, or so be it. We finally got a break in the weather here. It's rained for 3 days, and it's nice to actually get out and be able to exercise June. I'll take White Diamond back here in a little bit, let him go, and then Melvin and Goji and Rocky, maybe the little one, get him out here. He'd probably play with the hide. Reggie, the little one, Reggie. Take a few of them back and forth to the mill today. Just let them get on it, even if they don't run, just to stand on it and get familiar with it. I found that for me anyway, it's not so much the dogs that I get the feeling ill about, it's the people in the dogs. And there's been a thing on social media lately about whose name should go in front of these dogs, the breeder or the owner. And the breeders produce the dog, my opinion. The breeder goes in front of the dog. There's a line on ADBA paperwork, and it's for the breeder's signature. And what that does is gives the owner the right to change the name of the dog. If the breeder has not signed that spot, and I don't care one bit about the backyard bullshit, non-papered dogs that are out there. I don't care if 30 generations of the pedigree. For me, I want nothing to do with it. I prefer ADBA registered dogs. They've been around registering these dogs the longest in their truest form. I know they're not in the truest form in the ADBA. It's all about money and greed. That goes with the UKC, the AKC, all of it. Any registry that's out there. It's not about anything other than making a dollar. If you think it's different, you're sorely mistaken. You know, and the ADBA, it's like I said, that line on that paperwork is for the breeder to sign. That gives the owner the right to change the name. If the breeder hasn't signed that spot, the breeder wants his name in front of the dogs. And whatever justification you need to use to fuck the breeder out of what he's produced, go ahead and keep on using it, because it's what people do. I name everything coming from my yard, and there's a reason for it. They all have a theme. Every litter in the past 2 years has had a theme, whether it be the last one was the Archie comic. We've done saints. We've done Irish names. We've done Native American names. This last one was all sharks. So we theme them that way. We know what they came out of just by looking at the name, because you'd be surprised how many people call me and ask me if this is the dog. And the reason I don't just write A, B, C, D and let the new buyer name the dog is because even though I named them, the guy wants to put a call name on of a registered name of another pup in the litter. So now there's 2 dogs in the litter going by the same name. And, you know, it's just confusing down the line for people. It's also the reason when people get a hold of me and ask me if I bred such and such a dog and it doesn't carry the name that I gave it, I tell them, no, I didn't breed that dog. I have no clue what that dog is. You'll have to talk to the person who owns it, or if you've got a pup from them, the person that you bought your pup from. It's not my responsibility as the breeder of an animal that you've gotten something off of 2 generations later, a generation later, 3 generations later. It's not my responsibility to make you believe that that dog's pet is right, because I have no clue what the person has done with it. There's an asshat in Poland, got a dog from me and a couple from Frank, selling dogs all over the world, but he's a puppy breeder. He bred the dog he got from me at 11 months. He bred the 2 together that he got from Frank. The male was 11, the bitch was 10. So he puppy bred the bitch on purpose at 10 months old. You might think that's okay, but here it's not. And you know that line I was talking about that the breeder signs? He forged my name on that line, and I've got nothing for him. He's a grade A snake, piece of shit. And if you bought something from him, I'm not saying the dogs you got your pup from are good or not good. I have no clue what they are. One of them even come from me. You know, I know what the guy told me when the pup was 6 months old. And I don't know how you can determine that from a 6-month-old pup. We've got year-old pups out here. We've got dogs that are 18 months. I couldn't tell you attitude-wise what they are. That's also another difference. A gentleman on social media bragging his 11-month-old pup is doing great things. And he must have took it down. Enough people must have given him shit about it, because I saw him post not long ago about something to that line. And that's good that people did. First off, anybody that's coming on any social media site and incriminating themselves is an absolute fool. You don't... I don't go rob the 7-Eleven and come on here and say, hey, I just robbed the 7-Eleven. And the bastards only had $220 in the cash register. I don't commit a crime and come on here. I don't, you know what I mean? It's stupid. I know you see it. Wasn't long ago the kids in Chicago were bragging about dope and guns, and they knew somebody in the sheriff's department. They weren't going to get in trouble, and the next thing you know, it was all on the thing that, you know, they are in trouble. Not only are they in trouble, they're facing serious crime, serious time for guns and dope and dogs. And it's unreal. You know, there's nothing here that's been used, been bred, been bought for anything illegal. Nothing raised, trained, sold, none of that stuff. I would be an absolute fool if I didn't have that stance. You know, I'm going to close with a little story. There was a fella years ago, before and then shortly thereafter the 1976 law, and you know, the fighting the dogs was a misdemeanor, and it was a crime, and then lo and behold the state of Ohio made it a felony, and the fella got out of the legal aspect of the dogs. And his contemporaries, all the old timers that we hear stories and we want to talk about and hear about, they all called him a sellout and a pansy and a pussy and everything else. But you know what he is? He was a smart fella. He had a family. He didn't want to risk going to jail and losing his family. And I don't blame him. You know, that's a stance that everybody in these dogs ought to have publicly. And if you want to approach me otherwise, I'm going to block you on a bunch of sites. And then if you know, want to come talk to me face to face, that's fine as well. Because that's, if we're going to meet face to face, generally speaking, I've got nothing to say to you, or we have a relationship where I'd be comfortable talking about stuff that I'm not going to put on social media or talk about. You know, not even that it's illegal activity, but that it's you know, you have a yard accident here in Kentucky. It used to be we had vet client privilege. Now we don't anymore. So you take your dog to the vet in Kentucky and you've had a yard accident, and say 15 minutes have gone by. Say 15 minutes have gone by and you come out and you've got two dogs that are chewed up. You can't take them dogs to the vet without risking the vet calling the police and calling you a dog fighter and them showing up and investigating you. You know, I'm lucky where I live is that My vet sees my dogs, and if I call my vet and tell him, look, I've had a yard accident, I need to bring a dog in, he doesn't question it one bit because he's seen them for several years now. What sucks is my vet's going to retire soon, and then I'll have to get another one and have to start that relationship all over again. So the next one I get's going to be young, and I'm going to take the vet records I have with me so that when they question, how come that dog has a scar on it? How come that dog has got several scars on it? I'll be able to say, look, this is what happened. This is when it went to the vet, and this is what was done to it. And that's huge in today's climate. Building that with a vet. Some people can't do that. Some people don't trust enough to do that. I'm still trusting enough. You know. But the being honest and straight up and all that, it just doesn't exist anymore in our society. It may in some people, and it's a rare deal. And when I find them people, I tend to cherish them. You know, I found them and thought I found them and been scammed. I didn't think they were, and lo and behold, they were. So it works both ways. June actually didn't take her long. You can just see it right under the surface getting ready to explode out. This is a good girl. This is the longest bit of time for her in a while. I'm getting ready to get her off and get somebody else on. It's been enough, and we'll go again tomorrow.